the hidden name on your probiotic label. If you have ever looked at a probiotic supplement, a probiotic yogurt, or a fermented dairy drink in the United States or the United Kingdom, there is a good chance you have seen a name like Bifidobacterium lactis, B. lactis BB-12, B. lactis HN019, or Bifidobacterium animalis subspecies lactis. At first, those names may look complicated, but behind them is one of the most widely used and studied groups of probiotic bacteria in the world. Today, we are going to explain Bifidobacterium animalis in simple language. We will look at what it is, why it is often connected with gut health, bowel regularity, immune support, antibiotic recovery, and probiotic supplements, and why the strain name on the label matters so much. This video is not medical advice, and it is not a claim that one probiotic can cure disease, but it will help you understand the science behind one of the most common probiotic names in the health and wellness market. So, if you have searched for best probiotic for gut health, Bifidobacterium animalis benefits, B. lactis BB-12, HN019 probiotic, or probiotics for digestion, this video is for you. What is Bifidobacterium animalis? Bifidobacterium animalis is a species of beneficial bacteria within the Bifidobacterium genus. Bifidobacteria are naturally associated with the human gut microbiome, especially in early life, and many species are linked with digestion, microbial balance, and gut barrier support. However, when people talk about Bifidobacterium animalis in probiotic products, they are often talking about one subspecies in particular, Bifidobacterium animalis, subspecies lactis. This subspecies is commonly shortened on labels as B. lactis or Bifidobacterium lactis. You may see it in capsules, powders, infant products, yogurts, fermented milk drinks, and symbiotic formulas that combine probiotics with prebiotics. One important point, probiotic benefits are strain-specific. That means Bifidobacterium animalis is not just one universal product. A strain like BB-12 is not exactly the same as HN019, BL-04, or BI-07. They may belong to the same species or subspecies, but the clinical research, dose, product format, and health outcomes can be different. Think of it like dogs. A border collie and a bulldog are both dogs, but they behave differently. In probiotics, the strain code is like the individual identity card. Why the taxonomy can be confusing? One reason Bifidobacterium animalis can be confusing is naming history. In older studies and on some product labels, you may see Bifidobacterium lactis. In more precise scientific language, many of these strains are now classified as Bifidobacterium animalis subspecies lactis. This is why a label may say B. lactis B-B12, while a scientific paper may call it Bifidobacterium animalis subspecies lactis B-B12. For consumers, the key is not to panic about the naming. Instead, look for three things. First, the full species or subspecies name. Second, the strain code, such as BB-12, HN019, BL-04, or BI-07. Third, the amount of live bacteria, usually listed as CFU, and whether that CFU count is guaranteed through the expiration date. A product that only says Bifidobacterium blend or proprietary probiotic complex without strain details gives you less useful information. A transparent label helps you connect the product to the actual research. How Bifidobacterium animalis works in the gut? Bifidobacterium animalis subspecies lactis strains are often used because they can survive the journey through the digestive tract better than many delicate bacteria. The stomach is acidic, bile can be harsh, and the intestine is a competitive ecosystem. A probiotic has to pass through this environment and interact with the gut in a meaningful way. These bacteria may support gut health in several ways. They can help interact with the existing gut microbiome. They may contribute to a more balanced microbial environment, especially when the gut has been disrupted by diet changes, stress, travel, or antibiotics. They can produce or influence metabolites such as short-chain fatty acids, including acetate. Short-chain fatty acids are important because they help maintain a healthier intestinal environment. They may interact with immune cells near the gut lining. Remember, a large part of immune activity is connected to the gut. This does not mean probiotics boost immunity in a magical way, it means certain strains may help support normal immune communication. They may also support bowel habits in some people, especially those with low stool frequency or mild digestive discomfort. Bowel regularity and constipation support. One of the most searched topics around Bifidobacterium animalis is bowel regularity. People search for probiotic for constipation, best probiotic for regular bowel movements, and B. lactis for digestion. Several studies have looked at Bifidobacterium animalis subspecies lactis strains in people with low stool frequency. BB12 has been studied in healthy adults with low defecation frequency and abdominal discomfort. Results suggest that BB12 may help increase defecation frequency in this type of population. HN019 is another well-known strain. Research on HN019 has also examined bowel movement frequency and gut transit in adults with low stool frequency. In simple terms, gut transit time means how long it takes food waste to move through the digestive system. However, this is not a laxative. It is not a quick overnight fix. Probiotics usually work gradually, and the results depend on the person, the strain, the dose, the duration, diet, hydration, fiber intake, physical activity, and the cause of the constipation. For YouTube viewers, the practical takeaway is this. If you are buying a probiotic for bowel regularity, do not just buy the product with the biggest CFU number. Look for the specific strain studied for that goal. Antibiotics and microbiome recovery. Antibiotics can be necessary and sometimes life-saving, but they can also disturb the gut microbiome. Some people experience antibiotic-associated diarrhea, bloating, or digestive changes after a course of antibiotics. Bifidobacterium animalis subspecies lactis has been studied in the context of antibiotic use, including in yogurt formats. Research suggests that Bifidobacterium animalis containing yogurt may help support recovery of certain microbial and metabolic markers after antibiotic disruption. This does not mean you should replace antibiotics with probiotics. Never do that. If your doctor prescribes an antibiotic, follow medical advice. But it does mean that probiotic foods or supplements may be part of a gut-supportive plan during or after antibiotic use, depending on the person and the clinical context. A careful approach is important. People with severely weakened immune systems, central venous catheters, serious illness, or complex medical conditions should ask a healthcare professional before taking live probiotics. For healthy adults, Bifidobacterium animalis has been studied for safety when consumed in yogurt alongside antibiotics, and it was generally well tolerated in the studied group. Immune support: what the science really means. Many probiotic products use the phrase immune support, but what does that actually mean? For Bifidobacterium animalis subspecies lactis, some studies have looked at immune markers such as natural killer cell activity, T-cell responses, and polymorphonuclear cell function. Natural killer cells are part of the immune system's early defense network. T-cells are important for targeted immune responses. PMN cells, such as neutrophils, help the body respond to unwanted microbes. In some studies, specific B. animalis subspecies lactis strains were associated with changes in these immune markers and, in certain populations, fewer or less severe upper respiratory symptoms. But here is the key. Immune marker changes are not the same as a guaranteed reduction in illness for every person. This is why good scientific communication uses careful language. We can say certain strains may support aspects of normal immune function. We should not say they cure infections or replace vaccines, medication, sleep, nutrition, or medical care. Children, infants, and family products. Bifidobacterium animalis subspecies lactis appears in some children's probiotic products, infant formulas, and fermented dairy foods. Bifidobacterium animalis subspecies lactis is one of the best-known examples in this area. Research has examined Bifidobacterium animalis subspecies lactis in healthy children and early childhood settings. Some studies have looked at respiratory infections, gut microbiome changes, safety, and tolerability. However, parents should be careful. A probiotic for adults is not automatically appropriate for babies or children. Age, health status, dose, product format, and medical history matter. For infants, premature babies, children with immune problems, or children with serious medical conditions, Probiotic decisions should be made with a pediatrician. A good label for children should clearly show the strain name, CFU amount, age guidance, storage instructions, allergen information, and expiration date. Food sources and supplements. Where do people usually find Bifidobacterium animalis subspecies lactis? The most common sources are probiotic yogurts, fermented dairy drinks, capsules, powders, chewable tablets, and multi-strain probiotic supplements. In the UK, consumers often search for Best Probiotic Supplement UK, Probiotic Yogurt for Gut Health, and Bifidobacterium lactis. In the USA, common searches include Best Probiotics for Women, Probiotics for Constipation, Gut Health Supplement, and Bifidobacterium lactis probiotic. Food format may matter. A probiotic in yogurt is delivered with proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and a food matrix. A capsule is a different delivery system. Some studies compare how the same strain behaves in different formats. But the best product is not always the most expensive one. A better question is, does this product list the strain? Does it match the outcome I care about? Is the CFU guaranteed through expiration? Is it made by a reliable company? Is the storage instruction realistic? And does it fit my diet and health needs? Common mistakes people make. The first mistake is thinking all probiotics are the same. They are not. Strains matter. The second mistake is choosing only by CFU count. More CFU does not always mean better. A product with 50 billion CFU but no strain information may be less useful than a product with a studied strain at a clinically relevant dose. The third mistake is expecting instant results. For bowel regularity or microbiome support, studies often use several weeks of daily intake. The fourth mistake is ignoring diet. Probiotics work in an ecosystem. Fiber-rich foods, plant diversity, hydration, sleep, movement, and reduced ultra-processed food intake can all support the gut environment. The fifth mistake is treating probiotics like medicine for every problem. If you have blood in stool, unexplained weight loss, persistent diarrhea, severe constipation, fever, intense pain, or symptoms that do not improve, talk to a healthcare professional. The sixth mistake is buying a product without checking the expiration date or storage requirements. Some probiotics need refrigeration, while others are shelf-stable. Follow the label. How to choose a Bifidobacterium animalis product. Here is a simple checklist. Look for the full name. Bifidobacterium animalis subspecies lactis, or B. lactis. Look for the strain code BB-12, HN019, BL-04, BI-07, or another clearly identified strain. Check the CFU amount. The label should ideally state CFU through expiration, not only at time of manufacture. Match the strain to your goal. For example, bowel regularity research may involve different strains than immune marker research. Check whether the product is single-strain or multi-strain. Multi-strain is not automatically better. Sometimes it is useful, but sometimes it makes it harder to know which strain is doing what. Check storage instructions. A probiotic that is stored incorrectly may not deliver the promised live count. Check allergens and dietary needs. Some products are dairy-based. Others may be vegan, gluten-free, or allergen-friendly. And finally, use the product consistently. Many probiotic studies are based on daily use for several weeks, not random use once or twice. Final summary. Bifidobacterium animalis is one of the most important names in the probiotic world, especially because of the subspecies Bifidobacterium animalis subspecies lactis. You may see it on labels as B. lactis, Bifidobacterium lactis, BB-12, HN019, BL-04, or BI-07. The research is strongest when we talk about specific strains, not the species name alone. Some strains have been studied for bowel regularity, gut microbiome support, antibiotic-related microbiome changes, immune markers, and use in children. The biggest lesson is simple. Do not buy probiotics blindly. Read the label like a scientist, but think like a practical consumer. Look for the strain name. Look for CFU through expiration. Match the strain to your goal. Combine probiotics with a gut-friendly lifestyle. And remember, probiotics are support tools, not miracle cures. If you want to understand how your body really works and the benefits of probiotics, subscribe to this channel because we turn complex scientific topics into simple and powerful information that you can actually use. And if you found this helpful, share it with someone who cares about their health.